Welcome to the Amy McManus Show on AM 1480 WLEA. I'm beginning to think I might have to have a segment every week just called Moron of the Month Club or something. It seems we have another wonderful congressperson who the country's falling apart, but has decided to introduce a well-meaning legislation, as he calls it. Congressman Thaddeus McCotter, a Republican, wants this to tug at the heartstring of animal lovers. H.R. 3501 is called the Happy Act, which provides pet owners a tax deduction of up to $3,500 annually for pet care. The deduction is not available for pet acquisition costs, but is intended for veterinary and other pet care costs. One of the sponsors' stated reasons for doing this is that due to the economy, pet shelters are overcrowded, and people losing jobs and having to abandon their homes are abandoning their pets as well. He believes that this deduction will encourage pet adoption by loving owners. I don't know. The unemployment rate the way it is, the economy's not improving as much as we'd like, but Republican Congressman Thaddeus McCotter is promoting this Happy Act. Another guy that I have, well, let's see, not very fond words for. I talked about Mark Sanford a few months ago. Lieutenant Governor Andre Bauer announced last week he's going to ask Governor Mark Sanford to resign, citing serious misconduct by Sanford, as well as continuing distractions that are making it impossible for the state to move forward and get work done. Bauer promised he would forgo his own plans to run for governor if Sanford resigns, but it's said that in the next month the legislature may impeach Governor Mark Sanford anyway. In a statement released this afternoon, a few days ago, Sanford spokesman Ben Fox said the governor will respond to Bauer's statements, and no one will detail what these serious misconduct items are. It's impossible for our state to solve the serious problems we are facing without a change in leadership, the Lieutenant Governor Andre Bauer said. I had said Mark Sanford should resign months ago, and we see, as usual, takes a long time for these guys to own up to their actions and step aside. Another Moron of the Month Club member, I'd call it, Mark Lloyd is the new FCC diversity czar. In his 2006 book, Prologue to a Farce, Communications and Democracy in America, Lloyd wrote, "It should be clear by now that my focus here is not freedom of speech or the press. This freedom is all too often an exaggeration. At the very least, blind references to the freedom of speech or press serve as a distraction from the critical examination of other communications policies." This is Obama's Federal Communications Diversity Czar. Free speech is a distraction. Another federal agency, the Federal Trade Commission, must be they don't have much else to do. This story comes from the Cato Institute. Anheuser-Busch got this marketing idea of selling Bud Light beer cans decorated with college team colors. They're not stealing logos. They're just going to kind of revamp the colors on the cans to look like college team colors. And the FTC has come out and admonished this. I'm sure they have better things to do, but apparently not. They say that they want their attention on this issue because they have grave concern that the team-colored cans will encourage underage and binge drinking. FTC Attorney Janet Evans said in the Wall Street Journal, "This is not responsible on the part of Anheuser-Busch." Again, don't we have something better to do? Speaking of being responsible, this story comes from the Dayton Daily News. Parents of a 14-year-old girl who obtained an abortion at a Planned Parenthood of Southwest Ohio tried to sue that Planned Parenthood facility. Apparently, the parents asked to view the clinic's medical records to establish whether the clinic has a pattern of violating laws concerning minors' abortions. So you have to have parental notification if you have you're a minor in Ohio who wants to get an abortion. So this girl gives them a cell phone number and claims it's their father, and the clinician called up. Well, it turns out that this girl was really having them call the 21-year-old soccer coach who'd gotten her pregnant. The parental law was passed in December 2008 that also said that you could authorize recovery of punitive damages and access to redacted abuse reports. However, the state Supreme Court ruled that this law cannot be applied retroactively, as this event with this girl occurred 4 years before the law passed. And the parents are going to continue that lawsuit. Planned Parenthood is involved in hundreds of cases in the past year and upcoming involving the fact that they are most likely violating all of these parental notification laws, as well as sexual abuse of a minor. Another case in Ohio involving this same Planned Parenthood has to do with a 2004 state law that bans clinics from using the RU-486 abortion drug in any way that deviates from the FDA guidelines. And you have to use this pill under 49 days gestation. Apparently, Planned Parenthood has other uses for it. I'm not sure what. I'm assuming maybe they're using it as the morning after pill, or maybe they are trying to use it after that 49-day mark. Who knows? The Ohio Supreme Court says they will not accept Planned Parenthood's challenge of this law, and it was reverted back to the lower courts, but the law will not be enforced until resolution of the case. Meanwhile, Planned Parenthood President Cecile Richards is on this anti-Catholic crusade this past week. She accuses the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops of seeking to make American women second-class citizens. That's just the danger they're doing at home. Abroad, she says, their hardline opposition to women's rights also endangers millions of women around the globe. In other news of organizations that seem to be obsessed with sex, we have in New York this Fox News story. The United Nations is recommending that children as young as 5 receive mandatory sexual education that would teach even pre-kindergartners about masturbation and topics like gender violence. I know we talked about the United Kingdom's sex education policies a few months ago, and the United Nations was behind that and is pushing this envelope even further. The UN's Economic, Social, and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO, released a 98-page report in June offering a universal lesson plan for kids ranging in age from 5 to 18. It is, quote, an informed approach to effective sex relationships, unquote, and HIV education that they say is essential for all young people. UNESCO's plans to explain to children as young as 9 about the safety of legal abortions and to advocate and promote the right to and access to safe abortion for everyone over the age of 15. The UNESCO report, called International Guidelines for Sexuality Education, separates children into 4 age groups: 5 to 8-year-olds, 9 to 12-year-olds, and 12 to 15-year-olds, as well as 15 to 18. Under this voluntary, it says, sex ed regime, kids 5 to 8 will be told the term for touching and rubbing oneself in those private parts and that it will feel pleasurable. By the time they're 9, they'll learn about positive and negative effects of aphrodisiacs. That just boggles my mind. What a 9-year-old he has to know the word aphrodisiac. And will also wrestle with ideas such as homophobia, transphobia, and abuse of power. Also at 9, they are to learn about abortion safety. At 12, they will learn reasons for abortion. And when they're 15, they will be exposed to direct advocacy to promote the right to safe abortion. Child health experts say they're wary of teaching about the sticky topic of abortion, but stress that as long as the messages stay age appropriate, educating kids at a younger age helps better steer them into adulthood. Adults are more leery of early sex ed than the kids are, says Jennifer Harston, a child psychiatrist in New York. Our own fears are sometimes prevent us from being as open and honest with our kids as possible. This report was based on a rigorous review of sex ed literature, drawing upon, quote, 87 studies from around the world, said Mark Richmond, director of UNESCO's Division for Coordination of UN Priorities in Education. Good Lord. Richmond defended teaching about masturbation as age appropriate, and that in these lessons, kids will develop a more complex understanding of sexual behavior as they grow into adults. Despite these challenges, the UN insists that in a world affected by HIV and AIDS, it is imperative to give children and young people the knowledge, skills, and values to understand and make informed decisions. I have an idea. How about we just scrap all of this sex education, period? Just all of it gone, because we've obviously are just creating a sex-obsessed society, and AIDS rates continue to go up, teen pregnancies continue to go up, and people like these people at the UN, as well as in our own government in the UK, just keep pushing the envelope, and teaching masturbation to 5-year-olds. You're listening to the Amy McManus Show on AM 1480 WLEA.